Welcome back to the DAWG Mentality, winning in business, sports, and life. I'm your host, Jeffrey Wendel. In Major League Baseball history, tens of thousands of players have stepped up to the plate. But out of all those players, across more than a century and a half of professional baseball, only 28 men have hit 500 home runs. 28. It is one of the most exclusive, elite fraternities in all of sports, the 500 Home Run Club. It requires not just raw talent, but decades of discipline, consistency, and an unbreakable will to win. But today, we aren't talking about the 500 Club. We are talking about the 501 Club. Because the true DAWG mentality isn't just about reaching the elite threshold. It's about pushing past it. It's about setting a goal so audacious, so massive, that it forces you to completely reinvent who you are and how your business operates. Today, in episode 6, we're diving into the science and strategy of championship-level goal setting. We're going to look at the research behind why safe goals actually hurt your performance, and why aiming for the impossible is often the most practical business strategy you can deploy. If you're tired of aiming for 10% growth, this episode is for you. Let's get after it. Let's start with the science. For decades, the conventional wisdom in business was to set realistic goals. The idea was that if you set a goal too high, people would get discouraged, morale would drop, and performance would suffer. But the research tells a completely different story. Dr. Edwin Locke and Dr. Gary Latham spent 35 years studying goal setting. They analyzed data from approximately 400 different studies, and what they found completely revolutionized organizational psychology. Locke and Latham discovered that the relationship between goal difficulty and performance is one of the most robust, consistent findings in all of psychology. They proved that specific, difficult goals consistently lead to higher performance than easy goals, or simply telling people to do their best. In fact, across dozens of studies, they found that setting specific, difficult goals increased performance and productivity by 11 to 25%. Why? Because hard goals do 4 things to the human brain. First, they direct your attention. When the goal is massive, you stop getting distracted by trivial tasks. Second, they energize you. A massive goal creates a surge of adrenaline and effort that a safe goal simply cannot produce. Third, they increase persistence. And fourth, and this is the most important one, hard goals force you to discover new strategies. When you set a safe goal, say growing revenue by 5%, you just do what you're already doing, maybe a little bit harder. You work an extra hour. You make a few more calls. But when you set an audacious goal, when you say, we are going to double our revenue this year, you can't just work harder. You have to work entirely differently. The audacious goal forces innovation. It forces you to break your existing models and build something new. That is the essence of the 501 Club. It's setting a target that demands a completely new version of your business. In 1994, researchers Jim Collins and Jerry Porras published a landmark book called Built to Last. They studied visionary companies, companies that had sustained elite performance for decades, and compared them to average companies in the same industries. They found that the visionary companies all shared a specific habit. They set what Collins and Porras called BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals. A BHAG is not a quarterly sales target. It is a massive, daunting challenge that typically takes 10 to 25 years to achieve. It should have only about a 50 to 70% probability of success. But it is so clear and so compelling that it galvanizes the entire organization. The ultimate example of a BHAG didn't happen in a boardroom. It happened in the United States Congress on May 25, 1961. President John F. Kennedy stood before Congress and said, "I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth." Think about how audacious that was. At the time Kennedy gave that speech, the United States had exactly 15 minutes of human spaceflight experience. Alan Shepard had just completed a brief suborbital flight. NASA hadn't even put an astronaut into orbit yet. And Kennedy was saying, "We're going to the moon." It was a 501 Club goal. It was so massive that it forced the entire aerospace industry to invent technologies that didn't even exist yet. And on July 20th, 1969, they achieved it. We see this same philosophy today at Google's innovation lab, known as Google X. Astro Teller, the captain of moonshots at Google X, has a brilliant philosophy. He says, it's often easier to make something 10 times better than it is to make it 10% better. Let that sink in. 10x is easier than 10%. Why? Because when you aim for 10%, you compete with everyone else doing the exact same thing. But when you aim for 10 times, when you aim for the moon, you are forced to approach the problem from a completely different angle. You leave the competition behind because you are playing a different game entirely. So how do we actually execute this? How do we take these massive 501 Club goals and turn them into daily reality? For that, we look to a framework called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. The OKR system was developed by Andy Grove at Intel in the 1970s. A man named John Doerr learned the system at Intel, and in 1999, he introduced it to a tiny startup with about 40 employees. That startup was Google. The OKR framework is brilliantly simple, but incredibly powerful. The objective is the what. It is the audacious goal. It should be qualitative, inspiring, and memorable. The key results are the how. They are 3 to 5 specific, measurable milestones that prove you have achieved the objective. But here is the secret to the OKR system. You are not supposed to hit 100% of your goals. At Google, they divide their OKRs into 2 categories, committed and aspirational. Committed goals are the operational necessities. You have to hit 100%. But aspirational goals are the stretch goals. They are the 501 Club targets. For aspirational OKRs, the target success rate is 60 to 70%. If a team consistently hits 100% of their aspirational goals, leadership doesn't celebrate. They pull the team aside and say, "You aren't aiming high enough. Your goals are too safe." This completely changes the culture of a business. It removes the fear of failure. It tells your team, "We expect you to aim so high that you might miss, and we will celebrate the massive progress you make along the way." That is how you build a DAWG mentality culture. You combine the psychological safety we talked about in episode 5 with the audacious targets of episode 6. You make it safe to aim for the impossible. There is one final critical step to the 501 Club, and it is the simplest step of all. You have to write it down. Dr. Gail Matthews, a psychology professor at Dominican University, conducted a fascinating study on goal achievement. She recruited professionals from all over the world, entrepreneurs, executives, educators, and divided them into different groups. One group was asked to simply think about their goals. Another group was asked to physically write their goals down. Other groups added action commitments and weekly progress reports to a friend. The results were definitive. The people who simply thought about their goals had a mean achievement score of 4.28. The people who wrote their goals down had a mean achievement score of 6.44. Writing your goals down significantly increases your probability of success. And the group that wrote their goals down, created action commitments, and shared weekly progress reports with a friend, they blew everyone else out of the water. This study actually debunked a famous urban myth. You may have heard the story about a Yale or Harvard Business School study where only 3% of graduates wrote down their goals, and 20 years later, that 3% was earning 10 times more than the rest of the class combined. Dr. Matthews proved that the Harvard study never actually happened. It was a myth. But her actual peer-reviewed research proved that the underlying principle is absolutely true. Writing your goals down and sharing them with someone who will hold you accountable is a massive statistical advantage. The 501 Club is not for everyone. Most businesses are perfectly happy staying in the minor leagues. They are happy with safe, incremental 10% growth. But if you have the DAWG mentality, if you have the discipline, the attitude, the will, and the gratitude, you aren't playing for 10%. You are playing for the championship. Here is your challenge for this week. I want you to look at your primary business goal for the next 12 months. Look at the number. Now, I want you to multiply it by 10. I want you to ask yourself, if my life depended on achieving this 10x goal, how would I have to completely restructure my business? What processes would I have to break? What new strategies would I have to invent? You might not hit the 10x goal, but the strategies you discover by aiming for it will absolutely shatter your original safe target. Write that audacious goal down, share it with your team, and make it safe for them to chase it. Next time on the DAWG Mentality, we are going to talk about execution. We're going to look at how to take these massive goals and turn them into daily, relentless action. Until then, stop aiming for the threshold. Aim for the 501 Club. I'm Jeffrey Wendel. I'll see you next time.